everyone. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the Nina Monique Show. It's Saturday. I'm happy and I'm happy to be doing this show. Before I begin the show, I want to give a big shout out to Just Leadership USA, who was here on September 1st to talk about the mistreatment of individuals incarcerated in Rikers Island, and the organization is trying to close down Rikers Island. So I want to give a big shout out to them and what they're about and what they're doing. And also I want to give a big shout out to anyone who got caught up in the system, because once you win, it's definitely hard to get out. And this is a topic that I always wanted to cover because I think, for me personally, a lot of people don't want to talk about it. We shy away from it and we quick to demonize people who are incarcerated without knowing their story. There are people in there who were wrongfully accused of a crime. There are people in there who are in for a petty crime and they can't get out because they can't make bail. And it's just a topic that needs to be talked about because we see a lot of mass incarceration and we see a lot of people of color who are caught up in the system, and sometimes, most of the time, they don't get to tell their story. So I definitely wanted to cover topics about mass incarceration, being wrongfully accused, and to help me do that today, I have a special guest with me, Mr. AJ Woodson. How are you?
Yes. Hello.
He have a show that come on every Sunday from 6 to 8. People Before Politics.
Absolutely.
Very important, because especially with this climate that we're in now with politics, it's very important to know that we do have a voice and we do have the power to change things, but it's a matter of if we want to change things.
Absolutely.
So I have a special guest today, the Innocence Project, who will be here shortly, and I'll let the Innocence Project talk about what their organization do. And I also have someone named Alan Newton who will be here, who was wrongfully accused of a crime, and he will be here to tell his story. And I'm definitely looking forward to hearing everything that's going to be going on today. So I want to start off with Mr. AJ.
Yes.
Before the show started, we was talking about how people get wrongfully accused of crimes and the people who accuse them could pretty much walk away still taken care of. Would you elaborate on some of the projects that you were part of to bring light to the situation of being wrongfully accused and trying to help people get out of prison?
Well, one case we worked on, me and the show is me and my partner Damon K. Jones. We created Black Westchester, the newspaper, the online magazine, and People Before Politics, the radio show. Damon, my partner, is 28 years in corrections and heads the organization Blacks in Law Enforcement of America. So usually when people are wrongfully, whatever, he's one of the people that get called. So he got the phone call, and I got involved as, with the editor-in-chief of Black Westchester. So it was a young man named Jamal Smythe from Peekskill. He was in Yonkers to pick up a friend. The friend had a bag of drugs. I guess the cops were watching the friend.
Right.
So when he put the bag in the car and he got in the car, I guess the cops swarmed him or whatever. The two police officers, Yonkers police officers, had a history of falsifying search warrant affidavits, which also led to a raid of a young man, Dario Tanner, on School Street in Yonkers. They had the right apartment, but the wrong name, the person that lived there before him. He went out the window, third floor, landed on his back. They tried to say it was a suicide. The ME would not write off on it because he said in his 20-something years, no one jumps out of a window to commit suicide and lands on their back. He's never seen it. This case brought attention to those officers. So Janet DeFiore, who was the Westchester DA at the time, and had prosecuted several of the cases of these two officers, indicted the officers. Because of that, Jamal Smythe, one of the cases, they started looking at his case. His wife got in touch with Damon. We ran the stories. We had her on the show. We helped them, and he was sentenced for 15 years, and he had served 4, and he was then released. He is now released and has been exonerated of the charges. And what was beautiful, when everybody wanted to interview him, he wouldn't do any interviews until he gave us an exclusive. So that was a beautiful thing. And you can see that Jamal Smythe, blackwestchester.com. If you put his name in, you can see the interview.
Oh,
yeah.
Definitely going to check that out. Thank you for sharing that. We hear a lot of stories, especially right now with everything going on, where people are wrongfully accused of crimes they didn't commit. From you engaging in some of these cases and helping the family, what do you think could be ways that we could bring people to justice, that wrongfully accused individuals who are incarcerated for something they didn't do?
Well, 2 things. One, I think the bad thing is, and first off, let me say, because I have to say this every time, we are not anti-police. There are a lot of police that do their job. They don't. My partner Damon, his wife is a Mount Vernon police detective. So we're not anti-police. We're anti-bad.
Right.
No matter what you do, whether it's government, whether it's police, whatever. Anybody who violates the rights of the people, we're against them.
Right.
So that I want to say, because a lot of people, I had Blue Lives Matter protest against me on social media because they said I'm anti-police. So anyway. It's rare that you see officers get indicted on anything.
Right.
And I believe the only reason that these 2 were indicted was because the DA had to cover her behind because she had prosecuted several of the cases from these 2 officers. So it wasn't about doing the right thing even then.
Right.
And while we have her outside of Westchester now, she is now the head of the Court of Appeals. So when stuff don't go right, she's the one you got to go see now. So I'm not really comfortable with that either. So
that's what make everything hard, because when we see people who are appointed to these high positions, it's hard to get anything done because they could quickly shut it down. And then, in my opinion too, media have a role to play in it, because they relate the stories of what they want to be told to diminish someone's image. And then we come up, I'm not going to say we, but the public come up with ways to just, well, that person deserved what they, received or whatever. And it gets to the point for me where it's emotionally draining.
Absolutely.
How do you not allow things that you see consume your heart with, hating people? Because it's hard, because you see us always fighting. We can't kneel, we can't speak up, we can't protest. Everything always everything always have to be, if you don't like it, go somewhere else. And it shouldn't be that way. How do you stay, sane and away from not liking people for what,
Well, it's very hard, one, and you have to have some form of spirituality, whatever that means to you. I'm not saying I'm a Christian, but that doesn't mean, I got friends that are Muslims. I run with everybody, but you have to have some form of spirituality. One of the things my pastor always used to say when I was in Georgia, because those are the people that every couple that has a divorce problem, everybody that's all they're getting. When people call them, there's a problem.
Right.
I'm that person now with being the editor. But you have to stay prayed up,
right?
Because if you're not, and you have to keep positivity around you. If not, that consumes you, and then you take that into your house,
right?
And it's easy to be jaded,
right?
But what keeps me going is when I hear from people, especially a little old white lady. She's got to be about 80 years old. She's like, "Oh, I love Black Westchester. You keep us informed," and the people tell us how much they helped them, how much we helped them, or how much they informed us, or those are the things that keep me going, especially when my spirit is low.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It keeps me. It reminds me why we're doing this, because we started Black Westchester. We started People Before the Politics because there was a need to change the narrative. We can't depend on other people to tell our stories.
Right.
Whether it's Hollywood, whether it's the media, whether it's the radio, we can't let other people define us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
So I know we don't have the reach of the mainstream media, but in our local communities and for those that read us, you know what I'm saying? I try and I walk that balance, because there's a lot of stories I could do, and I could, and I try not to I hold our politicians' feet to the fire, and those who break, violate people's rights. There's a certain way to do it where I attack the issue and not the person.
Right.
You know what
That's
I'm saying?
very important.
As much as I can. I'm human. There's a few times I've gone after people, but
Right.
I mean, I try to attack the issue and not the person, because it's not, it's the issue that we need to attack. One of our problems, and the brother out there, and the thing, we attack each other.
Yes.
We're our own worst enemy. You know what I mean? So it's just like you have to educate people. You have to inform them of their rights. One of the things we did in the 2015, the election going into the mayor for Mount Vernon, I registered 105 young people between the ages of 18 and 24, people that were first-time voters, because they're not included in the voting block that the politicians use, so they're not doing anything. And I told them that. You're never going to get anything if you don't vote. They don't care about you because you don't vote.
Right.
I registered a lot of them.
Right.
And that's what changed the voting block of just the seniors and the regular people that vote. You know what I mean? And even now, what's going on the national level is going to be a lot of people that have stayed home and have been absent from these elections. They're going to make the difference in this midterm election and the 2020 election. But all things with us, all things is all politics is local, so I always bring it back home.
That's great. Voting is very, 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 very important. Although people say it don't change anything, it changes a lot. I'm gonna talk later with you. And we're back. Thank you to the Innocence Project for coming on the Nina Monique show. And Alan Newton. I definitely enjoyed the show, got a lot of information, a lot of stuff I didn't know. And just like AJ mentioned, it's important that you know your rights and you know everything that's going on. Because if something was to come up for you, you have to know what to say, what to do, and how to react. Because as we heard, it's easy to be tricked into saying something and getting caught up in a situation even more.
Absolutely. I can remember when I was much younger, on Hot 97, they had something called Street Soldiers.
Oh, yeah, with Lisa Evers.
And she had a guest on there that was telling you how to react when stopped by the police.
Right.
There was a bunch of police that were, acting up at the time in New York City. I got stopped around the same time after that show. They were giving me nothing but attitude, but the show probably saved my life. Knowing what to do, keeping my hands at a certain level, not giving them back attitude. I still got a lot of attitude, but it would have been worse had I gave into it. Right. And then
because they look for reasons.
Right, and there were other people before and after me who were beat up and killed. You know what I'm saying? So like that show. So I tried to do as much of that as possible, because there's another young person like me listening out there. You know what I'm saying? Right. So we have to educate our young people what their rights are. We got to educate them, especially our young black and brown people, what to do. And here's another thing. The other side of it, I have a lot of police friends. When a police walks up on a car,
they don't know
for the first 10, 15, 30 seconds, they do not know what they're walking up on.
Right.
They do not know you could have just robbed a bank. You could have just done.
Right.
So they have to kind of sort of be on high alert. It's up to you at that point to let them know that you are not a threat and you are going to comply.
Right.
That doesn't mean that there won't be some cops. I'm trying to use nice words. Wouldn't be certain officers that are going to give you attitude and bust your chops anyway. But by letting them know that, I'm complying, you got your hand at 10 and 2 on the wheel where they can see it. You let them know I'm reaching my what you're asking for is in my glove compartment. Can I reach for that?
Right.
So there's no I'm reaching for something, And down south, I lived in Atlanta, like you can literally have your gun on your right there on the dashboard or in the seat, letting them know I have a weapon. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, those things sometimes can save your life, and we need to know those things.
And sometimes, like you said, though, like you'll have those officers, and I'm not one to bash officers because, like you said, it's two sides to the stories. But you also have officers who don't listen to that Philando.
Right.
When you mentioned when you have a gun on the dashboard, and he was trying to tell the officer, I have a permit to carry.
Right,
and
right.
that still happened.
You know what bothers me about that? I'm sorry to interrupt you. The NRA,
Yeah.
talk to a lot of NRA members. They are always defending a person's rights to carry.
Right.
The NRA were completely silent. They had nothing to say about that case. You didn't hear a peep from them about that case. And this is the one, and he should be one of the people they talk about. Everybody has the right to carry this, that, and the other. He did it the right way. He had a right. They didn't mention anything. And I was not really a big supporter of the NRA in the beginning, but I really was a little disturbed that you didn't hear a thing from them. And I've reached out to people in their organization, and they didn't have a comment. So.
But that's normally how it go.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I want to switch gears for a minute.
Absolutely.
Because I want to talk about A.J. Woodson.
We don't want to lose all your people listening now. I'm just playing. Go ahead.
Now, my question is, how did you get involved in everything that you're doing? What set that spark where you say, you know what, I have to be more involved in my community. I have to be more involved in helping people find justice. I want to write about it. I want to have a show about it. What triggered that to come about?
So honestly, I was in the music business. And after I got out, I was a recording artist. When I got out of that, I wrote for The Source, Vibe, Village Voice, all the music things. I was like a lot of other people. I wasn't thinking about no politics. I didn't care about no city council election. I thought I did something. I voted for Clinton and I voted for Obama. Oh, I did something. That was my involvement in politics. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't. I mean, I was registered, but I didn't care. You wouldn't catch me at a city council meeting. I didn't. We had those complaints like everybody else when there was an Eric Garner, or back then it was Amadou Diallo. We had those conversations, but I was getting more and more on certain topics. As time went on. But I came back. I was in Georgia. I came back.
Born there.
Oh, Georgia?
Augusta.
Okay, Augusta. I was in the metro Atlanta area. Like, there's just parts of Georgia I just did not venture out there to. so there's still parts that you need to be out of before dark now. So anyway, so I was my mother got diagnosed stage 4 cancer. I came back home to take care of her. I actually came to visit her on Mother's Day. Did not know I was staying. Whatever happened, I dropped everything and I stayed to take care of her. My partner, Damon K. Jones, and I, 10 years before that, before I even went to Georgia, we worked together. We had a music business company. We had a label. We were trying to put out artists. We were doing a lot of music business type stuff. He was working on trying to put together like a hip hop Hall of Fame or something. And we were into that. He was a lot more into this since I was gone. He had ran for city council. He started speaking up about the treatment of police to people of color and stuff like that. So one of the things that he would get upset about, the local mainstream media would come out to his press conferences, but they would only show clips.
Right.
Those clips were not always representative of what he was talking about in his So basically, he had to do a press conference. He knew I was every day, all day in the hospital or the rehab with my mom. Said, "Why don't you come out, videotape this thing for me?" It was 4 black parole officers. They had to get a parolee from Ramapo, Suffolk County, a little bit upstate, going upstate. So what happened? These 4 black parole officers, the parolee was not home. On their way out of town, there was a roadblock. They got stopped. They got pulled out the vehicle. They got thrown to the ground, and they got guns pulled on them. Now, let me set the stage for you. They had on vests, bulletproof vests that said NYS parole across the chest. They had their badges that get on a chain around their necks, and they were in a government vehicle. And they were held at gunpoint for 45 minutes. Then one of the white officers recognized one of them, was like, "Oh, that's Jones," or whoever, dealt with him. He's the head of parole. They were still held at another 22 minutes at gunpoint. They were suing because nothing had been done. I've always had a blog. So basically, I wrote, when he gave me the finished video, he gave it to me, I posted it on my blog. And basically, I wrote something along the lines of, yo, if it ain't safe for them, what
Right,
chances a brother
right,
like me got in
right.
the street? That sparked a nerve.
Mm-hmm.
I guess
When you see
it
them
was
face to face.
when people read my blog,
Right.
it was like, I guess people hadn't seen nothing like that in a long
Right.
time.
Right.
So Damon came up with the idea. He wanted to do something like this. He had already been doing this work. He needed a pen to go with his movement. And that's what we became. We became partners. We put out Black Westchester. It was an online news magazine. The idea was you have Time, Life, and other things, news magazines for white people, non-black people, but you don't have
nothing
those
for
in the
us.
black community. All our publications are usually entertainment, other than Black Enterprise and one or two other things. You know, everything is entertainment based
Right.
or sports based or even video game based, but nothing like news oriented like Time or Newsweek.
Right.
So we were doing kind of, I don't want to say the ghetto version, but our version of that.
Right.
So that's
Bringing people to bringing awareness of things
Right.
that's going on.
So one thing led to another. I just started writing. An older person told me what I did was, there was like a rich white man in the room that had so much power. His zipper had been open all this time, but nobody would tell him. And I was like, yo, man, your zipper's open. And everybody was like, yeah. But nobody was. I'm the person who's told him his zipper was open.
Right.
That's how they described the article I wrote. Like, I don't know how you would take. They said I'm the one that let them know that the zipper was open. So basically, we did this, and because Damon does a lot of stuff with the police and stuff, we were at the Eric Garners, we were at the Ramali Graham in the Bronx. We were all of these different places. You know, he used to be with the Nation of Islam. He used to be FOI. So we were at a lot of things they were doing. So we started getting the support of all those kind of people in the community. And all other people start coming. So it was just one thing led to another.
Right.
Then people started calling us, and I started doing bigger and bigger stories. And it was just like, you know what? I felt my mother passed, and my mother was very instrumental, and it's probably my answer to the question the best, and informing the community. She dealt with mortgages and stuff. If you were
Right.
going to lose your house, she was the person to call. She would tell you how to deal with foreclosure and all that other stuff. Or even when you were buying a house, she would help people. If she didn't know what you were going through, she had people that did, and she would call them
Right.
and get you. She was
So
that
she
person.
was the connector for the
Right.
community. And
She
everything.
she went on buses for both Obama elections to Pennsylvania and other states to register and campaign for him. You know, she was doing more of that kind of stuff. I wasn't into none of that. So,
But it's amazing how what she did came full circle to you.
well, and then I felt her passing. She ended up passing. I started working on the paper probably May, June. I was building the website on her bedside. She passed July 11th, 2014. And I know this sounds crazy to some people, but I felt my mother passed me the baton of doing what, and now I can't do what she does. I ain't gonna do what I do. You know what I'm saying? So, but informing the people and enlightening the people and educating the people in your community, speaking truth to power, and all of that. And it was like she passed me a baton. So I was like, yo, I really started over. Like, when I say started over, I mean started over nothing. They say you can't do anything without money. Well, we built this literally, not with a low budget, with no budget. Like, we really did this, and it happened organically. Like, I couldn't have planned this. This happened organically. Even when it was time to put out the paper, we talked about doing a paper. In April last year, I told everybody, yeah, we're coming out in August. My partner Damon was like, yeah, if we get the advertising. No, we're coming out in August.
Right.
Like, I willed that paper to come out. I got us the printer. I found out what it was going to cost. I used a local paper and for their advertising rates and duplicated it and altered it to our needs.
Right.
And sold the advertising some kind of way, and we came out in August 2017. And then since then, it's just given us another lane, and it's
like,
just another.
It expanded everything.
Right. So
for
there's
you.
still some people say people don't read no more. They want to do everything online. Well, we did it backwards, and that's what people said, we were backwards. But there's a big portion of the population that still wants paper between their hands.
And that's why too, like, not to branch off from what you're saying, but it's important to know what you're trying to accomplish and not let other people's opinions influence what you're trying to do. Because what you just said, you know, everything is online and people saying nobody pick up the paper and read,
Right.
but you was like, no, we're gonna put this out.
And it got into places, the senior buildings, and a lot of other places, and it's been a source of information. I've been making up the rules as I go along. I break all laws of journalism and grammatical errors 10 times a day. I'm sure I have English teachers rolling over in their graves if they're dead. Like, I taught you better than that, right? So, but you know what?
Long as you have a message and what you're trying to get across.
One of the things I live by, there's several things. We have on every paper the picture of Shirley Chisholm, unbossed. Nobody owns us. Nobody can tell us what not to do. You don't like it, don't advertise, don't read us. But secondly, I was moved by, and I try to live by these words as far as the paper, the radio show. Muhammad Ali, when at his funeral, and I interviewed him before. That was one of my greatest interviews before doing all this. So one of his daughters or friends or somebody who spoke, they spoke on this 2 or 3 times, and I've actually seen the documentaries where he said this. He was like, I don't have to be who you want me to be. I don't have to do it the way you want me to do it.
Yes.
And that's what I live by with Black Westchester. I'm not going to do what you think. I'm not black enough for some people, believe it or not, and I'm way too black for a whole lot of people. You know, I've had people say, well, take off the word black and, you know, you'll get more readers. No, that's one of the first things they try to do with us is to take away our identity. Like, people would, if I was called Irish Westchester, wouldn't have a problem. If it was Latino Westchester, wouldn't have a problem. If it was LSB, whatever them letters are, you know, the gay community, wouldn't have a problem. It's the word black that scares people. You understand what I'm saying?
Still to this day, yes.
And every other community, the Chinese, they have their local paper and their local radio shows that, yes, they see CNBC and MSNBC and CNN, but they have their local news that tells them how it applies to their community. We do not. And everybody else defines us. Everybody else tries to, you know what I'm saying?
That's how I feel.
And the other thing is, one of the biggest things is changing the narrative. A lot of us, I'm hip hop to my bones. I'm a hip hop artist. I'm hip hop down. I will always be hip hop. I'm always gonna mix hip hop into everything I do.
Yes.
But we're not all pants sagging, derelict, gangster, rapping thieves or drug dealers. It's a lot of men handling their business. I try to show the image of fathers taking care of their kids, because that's an image that doesn't exist according to them. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people who I wrote a story recently from prison to platinum. A brother who had went to jail, did a whole bunch of bad stuff, served his time, came out. He now owns a car wash. He does. It's called Platinum something car wash. That's why the story was from prison to platinum. Actually, one of the places he was selling drugs or got in trouble with was actually in front of that property that now is his car wash. Before he went to jail.
Oh, wow.
He did all these things. He was on a lifetime parole or whatever. Because of all the things he's done since he's been out, he's been removed from that. Like, this brother, like, that's a story that we need to tell.
Right.
And not only do other people need to see it about us, our people need to read that so they know that these things exist.
And that you can make a change if you want in your life.
With Hollywood, I've been involved in the music business, which, deals with entertainment, deals with everything. I've interviewed most of the people that you like, that's been out, except for the people that just came out. And you know what? We have so many stories to tell. Tyler Perry proved that.
Yes.
I mean, they didn't want to do the stories that he wanted to do. And he had to do some of those Medea stories to do those how can I get married, when I get married, or why I get married type movies, or a few of those kind of movies that were really powerful movies that show black family, that show the intricacies of us. There's a lot of things, but we have to tell our stories.
That's why I really wanted to do the Nina Monique show, because it was just so many things that I was holding in that I would see coming up around my neighborhood and with people that I went to school with. Like one of the main reasons why I wanted to do shows about people in prison, coming out of prison, who lived a certain lifestyle is because for me, when I went to school, I had I was in school with two guys, very, very smart. I always thought they was gonna be lawyers and doctors. Very smart, helping me with homework and everything. But instead, they ended up getting convicted for murder, and one didn't kill someone, but he was involved in it. He was the mastermind behind it. And for me, I said, that's not the individuals that I know. And I remember one of them growing up lost his mom. So it's like, it's a story to it. You can't just, leave someone out to dry, because I always said there's a story to it. And I always wanted to bring people's stories to the microphone, or I wanted to do what you're doing with Black Westchester. I tried to start my own magazine for kids in the inner city, to have a platform for them to talk about the things that they go through and tell their side of the story. But I let people negative opinions stop me from pursuing that.
You have to do what we do. First off, I tell everybody, it's not gonna make you popular.
Right.
It's not gonna make you friends.
Right.
You're not gonna get on many Christmas card lists.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to know that that's why when people come to me and be like, yo, we appreciate what you're doing. Today we had a rally, a Save Mount Vernon rally. We're dealing with the unsolved murders in Mount Vernon.
Mm-hmm.
A white Italian couple, probably in their 60s,
Mm-hmm.
came to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to introduce myself. We love what you're doing. We read, and the wife said, I read an article that you wrote that mentioned the guys who did the rally at the bottom. She then looked them up,
Mm-hmm.
found out what it was they were doing, and that's why she was there. For people that was like, yo, we appreciate what you're doing to the youth, and the representing the wrongfully incarcerated, representing
Mm-hmm.
the different sides. And also, while there's a lot of that, also highlighting and spotlighting our unsung heroes. There are unsung heroes in every community that are holding it down.
Mm-hmm.
That they don't have press conferences. You don't see their pictures in the paper. You don't see write-ups about them.
Right.
But they've been holding down the community all
Yes.
their lives, or for years and for decades, and been putting in work. And those are the type of people, let's be honest, when I was a knucklehead,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of those kind of people reached out to me and was like, listen, there's something about you. You don't need to be here in them streets, this, that, and other. They saw something in me and reached out to me. Because of them, I'm not dead or in jail like a lot of my peers.
Right.
I'm 52 years without a felony in Mount Vernon, which supposedly is a rare thing these days. Because I told somebody that, at an event, and I thought balloons was gonna come out the sky like I was 100th customer at the supermarket. Like yo, for real, like yo, act like that's something rare. And they was like, it is. And I'm like, whoa. I have friends who I went to high school with who have done 10 to 20 years, and they're out now. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, but there was people that saw something in me,
Mm-hmm.
and they invested in me. I always tell a story. I was cutting school. There was a security guard. He was just security, but he saw something in me. He rode his bike to my house.
Mm-hmm.
He knocked on the door. He treated me like a man and asked me to come out to the corner, not to have this conversation in front of my father. To basically tell me, you effing up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You need to get your blah, 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 blah together, blah, 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 blah. Because he did, I went to school the next day. I'm going to keep it real. You know what I'm saying? But, like, he respected me, that conversation. He ain't called me out in front of my father.
Right.
Now, he told me the next conversation was going to be in front of my father. But, I mean, but it was like, yo, he lived on the other side of town and rode his bike to my house.
Right.
Like that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
there was a lot of people that hollered at me when I was that age, and that's why I'm here. So people say the youth is out of control. And I was like, yo, if the youth is out of control, is it the youth failing us? Or is it all of us failing the youth? Because
Right.
we not
It's
giving
turning our
them people
heads.
that got at me, our generation ain't doing that now.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not
Exactly.
enough of them people that's going. So I try to, anybody who's doing that, try to big them up, big up their little organization, spotlight them. They have fundraisers. Y Cop
Right.
in Mount Vernon is an organization we had on last week. They had a fundraiser the other night. I made sure I had them explain it, what they do, and tell about why it's important.
Right.
And then I had to Save Mount Vernon people on that were talking about unsolved homicides. And I was like, yo, basically, you can give to organizations like that,
Mm-hmm.
or you're going to end up having to support organizations like this. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the end. Because they're helping them kids,
Right.
getting at them kids, which would be either one, the shooter who has nothing to do and is out there getting caught in a gang, or the ones who get shot. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And if we don't empower them organizations like that, then we have the Save Mount Vernon. This foundation got to get bigger and bigger because there's a whole lot more unsolved. And I was able to put that image out, to support them. So.
It's very true. And when I was reading your bio, I was like, man, I said, I really like this guy already.
I'm a lot more impressive on paper.
You're very impressive.
I look really, really good on paper. You be like, that guy ain't got nothing when you meet me in person. But you be like, on paper, I'm the man, though. Yeah.
No, I mean, I really admire what you do. Like I said, when I was reading it, I was like, I can't rap. I'm not a hip hop artist, but everything else that was in your bio, I was like, those are all the things that I wanted to do. So when I get to meet people like you, I always want to say thank you because you're paving ways for me too. And I appreciate that. And I'm sorry not to cut you off, but just by meeting you today and like hearing, with the Innocence Project and everything you were saying, I took in information also from what you were saying, what the Innocence Project was saying, Alan was saying. But, just talking to you, I hear a lot of similarities of like just wanting to do the things that I want to do, and hearing you say just you have to be comfortable with you and just do it yourself. So I thank you for validating what I've been thinking, what my mother was saying to me all along, because
a lot of things I said, she was like, yeah, I be telling her. Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate coming into like contact with good people. There's two things. One, I'm at a point in my life, you got to look at the different cycles of your life. My daughter will be 29 next month. I was married twice. I'm divorced twice. But my last marriage, I had 2 stepdaughters. This is the first time in my life that there's no one depending on me to put food on the table or a roof over their head, that I could take these chances, because if I was still married, I couldn't afford to do this. Because this is a sacrifice. This is a labor of love sometimes. Issue to issue, we had this conversation with the people that know me. It's like, oh man, you got a lot of advertising. Yeah, issue to issue. We don't know how we gonna come out sometimes, but it works out at the end, and we just keep grinding. And I got this whole I'm at a point like, don't stress what you can't control and do the things you can control. So so I didn't get all the advertising I need yet, but you know what I can control? Putting together the dopest, the toughest, the hottest issue, the most informative issue that I can do, and to keep working on that. And sometimes a lot of things just fall into place when you do the work. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's a matter of just doing the work. I believe in what I do. You have to. To do this, you have to believe in what you do. Yes.
This ain't something you do because it's cool. This ain't something you do for the money. This ain't something you do for the fame. My partner, Damon, his wife is a Mount Vernon police officer. Because of him being outspoken, she's been suspended and messed with at the job. His wife and daughter own a cupcake shop, Cupcake Cutie, that they tried to shut down. You understand what I'm saying? That we just had a press conference yesterday. They're suing. There's sacrifices in being involved in this. Like, I told Damon one day in the beginning, understand, at some point we're gonna uncover something that somebody seriously doesn't want uncovered. You know what I mean? And they're gonna fight whatever to make sure it's not a cup. I mean, but people say, ain't you scared? I'm not fearless. I know I'm not Superman or whatever you feel is an invulnerable. I'm not Luke Cage. I'm not bulletproof. But I feel on a level of, can't no man do nothing to me that God don't allow. And if he allow it, he gonna walk me through it. You know what I'm saying? And don't get me wrong, I don't want to die or nothing like that. But I feel like if somebody take me out, I'm gonna be a martyr that's gonna move, gonna start a movement. Like, I mean, maybe that's just in my head, but that's how I feel. And I try to stand on the traditions of the Amsterdam, the county press in Westchester, all the historical black papers that when we talk about that time that's where we go. You know, I got the Mount Vernon library. They're archiving every copy of the paper. So 20 years from now, if that library is still there, when you going to do some stories or something, you can pull up them articles. You know what I'm saying? The way I can pull up them old articles from the that cover the civil rights movement and stuff like that. Like, those are the type of things. And I see the large picture. Yeah, some people ain't gonna feel me right now. When we had Mayor Davis in Mount Vernon, a whole bunch of people didn't like me because we pointed out all his bad. The new mayor was city councilman. All his people loved me because I was hard on Ernie Davis. Ernie Davis left. Now all of the Richard Thomas people, they hate me, them same people. I'm like, yo, hold up. Because the player changed, the game ain't changed. You know what I'm saying?
You have to be able to take everything that comes with what you're doing.
But now the Ernie Davis people that couldn't stand me, oh, they my people now. Because the person they don't like is who I'm going after. Like, and then when he's out, there's some people that don't like me now, that they're not going to like the next person and they're going to be cool with me, or my agenda lines up with whatever their agenda is temporarily. You know, I don't fool myself. It is what it is.
Exactly.
I just figure as long as I try, I say this all the time. Am I perfect? Heck no. Am I gonna make mistakes? Absolutely.
Everybody.
I try to man up to the ones I do when I realize it, and I try to limit them and learn from them. With every story I do, I learn something different. Like what you just said. Like I don't know. People think I know everything. I look up a lot of stuff, and for every story I do, I learn something. So, and I hope that Black Westchester, and I'll say this, I hope Black Westchester, there's a lot of young people that's involved. There's a lot of volunteers because we don't have money to pay anybody. So a lot of volunteers, but whatever their thing is that they're trying to do, at least it was set up that way, is for them to elevate to the next level in what it is they're trying to do.
Right.
So if they use it as a stepping stone and they move on somewhere else, that's cool with me. You know, my thing was able to elevate them and whatever it is that they wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? And put their movement. So
that's what it's about too. Like, helping people progress.
Right.
So
So that's it. I mean, I can run my mouth all day. I know you got time. Hey, this is what I do. I used to have a promotion company. It was called Big Mouth Entertainment. You know, who else you want to get the word out? Somebody with a big mouth, right? So, that's who I'm hiring, right? That's what promotions is. So I run my mouth. That's what I do. So give me a mic.
I'm listening to everything you're saying, and like I said, today was a good day for me because I learned a lot from you and Alan and Innocence Project. So I definitely want you to give out like your social media for Black Westchester. And I also want to, before we go, I want to talk about your show, People Before Politics.
So the website, the online magazine came out June 2014. Is blackwestchester.com. You can find us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Black Westchester or Black Westchester Magazine. So the show we started 4 years ago, August 3rd, 2014, the People Before Politics radio show. It actually was an idea that my friend Damon was doing on Blog Talk Radio for years. It had a name. We decided to keep the same name and do this show. We were a guest. Damon was a guest on somebody else's show. Priscilla Ichi and her friends had a show, and we liked the setup, and we was like, hey, we could do that. We started our show. So we just celebrated our 4-year anniversary. This People Before Politics radio show. You can Google it. We're on all the regular social media. And last August, we actually started Black Westchester, the newspaper. It's monthly. We just celebrated the 1-year anniversary. You can blackwestchester.com is the hub for everything. You can go on there and see every we up to episode 185 on the show. You see every one of the episodes on there. You click on the last tab, BW newspaper. You can see all the digital versions of all the issues of the newspaper, and then of course the articles and everything else. Everything. So blackwestchester.com is the hub, and we just started subscriptions for people that there's a lot of people in Westchester that have moved down south, or people that just want to know what's going on. $25 a year. We mail it to you, so we mail it to your house, the paper. We drop the paper off usually at all the black churches, the libraries, the community centers, sometimes your hair salon, soul food spots, where we be. You know what I'm saying? And it's free. Everybody says, yo, you charge this, you charge that. My thinking is most things that have information for people in the hood, even if you was to charge 50 cents, they don't get the knowledge that you have for them because they can't afford it.
Right.
Like somebody they might be able to afford that one issue, but just to have a steady. If you want to give the information to the hood, to the people, to the poor, to the voiceless, to the disadvantaged, to whatever you want, however you want to term that, you got to give it to them free. So we have advertisers, and that's why I tell people it's important to advertise with us, because that helps us keep it free for the community. That helps us get it out, promote those events, show those people them unsung heroes, call out those elected officials that need to be called out. Anybody corruption, we're speaking truth to power. Freedom ain't free. You know what I'm saying? That's like, real talk. Freedom is not free. You have to do something for it. So, I mean, so that's how we do it. And then we have donations. There's people that we have a donate button, bang, they hit that, they put their little $50 or sometimes more, they don't have anything to advertise, but they want to keep us going.
Right.
Or they send us a check. So it's Black Westchester. We've been doing it for 4 years. We speaking truth to power. We're not gonna stop. I feel like I said, my mom passed me the baton, and I'm gonna ride this till the wheels fall off. And it's about leaving a legacy for the next generations. Right. It's about documenting this current time in history. I mean, that's what, a lot of people say a lot of things, but this is what it is. This is what it is for me. It's real serious. It's not just fun to have I do this 24/7. I don't do anything else. I don't sleep, for real. I nap. For real. I don't sleep, for real. My phone rings. Hey, a dude, last month, a guy in Yonkers got arrested by cops in Yonkers. He was watering his grass. He said they was harassing him. They took him to the hospital, tried to have him admitted. Right? The hospital let him go at 2 o'clock. He Googled what to do when the cops harass you. Black Westchester came up. He was calling me from 2 to 6 in the morning till he got me, dude. I'm real talk. He said he Googled it and this is what came up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Google just said, call AJ or call Black Westchester. Whatever. But dude was calling me from 2 something in the morning until I finally answered at 6. For real. So, people, that's what goes on. So, it is what chose me or whatever. This is the first non-entertainment based project that I've ever worked on. Everything was involved around entertainment. Even when I did news, it was entertainment news. Jay-Z just got arrested, and the court date, DMX got arrested. This one did this. It was news, but it was entertainment news. This is the first non-entertainment thing that and I'm making it up as I go along, because there really wasn't no roadmap, there wasn't no blueprint, there wasn't no, we making this up. We made a lot of mistakes in the beginning. Shout to everybody who holds us down, everybody who volunteers, everybody who helps distribute. You see me and Damon, that's the names you see. You see Damon on TV being interviewed. You see me writing is the name of the writer, the editor, the chief cook and bottle washer. But for us to come out every month, there's people that hold us down for the show to keep coming out. There's people like Lorraine Lopez, who's watching right now, who's a co-host of the show, who books a lot of the guests, who calls up and harasses people when they don't answer my emails for advertising. No, I need a quote. You know what I'm saying? She gonna get you. Yep. You know what I'm saying? We got Priscilla Ichi, Brenda Crump, Atif Khalil, who's holding us down with Mount Vernon, and various others. There's too many to name, but there's a whole bunch of people behind us that hold us down and make us what we are. And every year I'm trying to take it to the next level and make it bigger and bigger. So, I mean, Black Westchester. At this point, I'm Black West. People sometimes I don't have a name. People are like, yo, Black Westchester. I'm Black Westchester now. So that's what it is. And shout out to my partner, Damon K. Jones, for picking me to take this journey with him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That was my dude. He was like, he needed a pin to his movement, and we rocked out together, and for it to be what it is.
It's hard to find people that'll ride with you through stuff too, especially when you have a business, because then people feel after they put in a certain amount of time, well, when you gonna pay me? When is this happening?
Well, it's crazy because I couldn't have did this for him. I had to own some of it. You know what I'm saying? We 50-50 partner. Like he worked for the county. He got a pension. He good. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Black Westchester don't have to make a dime, dude. He good. This is how I eat. You know what I mean? And this is what pays the rent. Like
Right.
this is what I do. Social media for people. People know I do social media for candidates and corporations or organizations. Either I set it up or I maintain it. You don't know. You think they tweet and it's not them. You think they putting them pictures on Instagram. It ain't them. But you know,
So you
it's
just
supposed to look
around
like
the
they.
clock.
I-
You
well-
just around the clock.
Well, I work until I'm not effective. Especially when I come to the point where I have to do the paper. It's like, yo, I got like 28-page paper. I got maybe 6 pages done right now. You know what I mean? Like for October. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But you know what? I go home and I work and work and work. And then when I get tired, yo, I just shut it down. And when I wake back up, I do it again. And then I just knock off little bits and pieces while I can and what I can. And do what I can and just rock out. So.
Oh man. Well.
Black Westchester, the voice of the community, the voice of the voiceless. I mean, thank you for everybody who supports us. Keep the support coming because that's how we keep it moving. So.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, and one thing, if I can announce, we have so we're actually having a fundraiser. Like I cover everybody else's fundraisers. We're actually having a fundraiser. I believe is October 19th, 18th, or 19th. The 18th, I think, is a Thursday. I'm going to announce it on our show, but there's this organization called the Soup Kitchen that feeds the homeless, that feeds a lot of people. Their budget has been cut in the last 2 years. They used to get about $50,000 from the county and from the city or whatever. They got cut in half the year before. They got nothing last year. I don't think they got nothing this year. They don't know how they keeping their doors open, and they still
Right.
rocking out. The lady who runs it, who got a salary, she's a former city councilwoman. She got the equivalent of laid off. And she's been rocking for the last 2-3 months without a salary. So I got, so anyway, we're doing a fundraiser. It's Black Westchester fundraiser for the Soup Kitchen. I mean, it's to rock out for us, but it's also like 35% of the proceeds or whatever is going to the Soup Kitchen. So they can continue the work that they do. And we're doing that. I'll announce it on our show. You look at Black Westchester, we'll put it out. But we got that coming out. It's the first thing kind of like that we did because I rock everybody else's fundraisers. I never had a fundraiser. I never raised money for us. So another group is raising it for us, but I didn't want it to be all about us. I wanted to, while we need the money to stay afloat and to have something in the cushion, but I feel better still, even in that helping an organization that helps people. So I want to be able to bring more attention to them. And like I said, 35% of the proceeds is going to them. So I'll have all the information. You'll be seeing that.
And let
in
me
a
know,
couple
and
weeks.
I'll put it on my and I'll promote and share too.
I want to thank you for sharing your space with me. You know how
No,
important
thank
that.
you for
You know how
coming.
important that is.
Thank you
Like
for coming.
everybody has their own space, and everybody wants it to be their space. And as people could compare us and say we're competitors because we have 2 different shows. There would be people who would look at it that way. Nah, I ain't bringing him so he could promote his show on my show. So it has to be said. Thank you for sharing your space.
No, it's my pleasure.
And introducing me to your audience.
No,
You know what I'm
problem.
saying?
No problem.
And I think that's a powerful thing. And the more we work together on stuff like that, the further we can all get.
Yes.
Because the thing is, I own 100% of my thing and you own 100% of your thing, and we never going to work together. But you know what? In working together, what's 100% of nothing? As
I
opposed to
agree.
20 or 30% of something
I
that's
agree.
real successful. You know what I'm saying? We don't
Yep.
get that as people. So I just want to shout y'all out, and I love what y'all are doing, and I've
Thank
seen some of
you.
the old shows, and
Thank
shout
you.
out to everybody who rocks with us. Shout out to everybody who rocks with them, and shout out to the Innocent Project for all that they do, because
Yeah.
there's important
Right.
work. I want to have them on our show too to continue to blow up, and I want to actually have them on the show and then write about them in the next issue from
Yeah.
that interview. So
That's good.
that's it. So I think we're coming
Yes,
close.
that's
to
why I wanted you on the show, because I was like, I felt you would be like a connection. So because Cruz told me about you, so I was like,
Shout out to
definitely.
Cruz and Erica.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So I definitely.
Oh, shout out to Dr. Bob. Can't forget about him. Can't forget about him. Not only is he the co-host, not only does he hold me down, but he's my ride to and from the station today. Shout out to Dr. Bob. Yes, baby. Yeah.
So thank you for coming on. I greatly appreciate it.
No
and
doubt, no
I
doubt.
definitely want to do something with you again. Have you come on?
Now
and-
we gotta have you come up, but you live far away though. You live,
Yeah.
yeah. You ain't local, so.
It could be on like a day where.
Well,
I don't-
we only come on Sunday, so it's just like
Yeah,
Sunday.
just let me know.
Yes,
I
so
mean, yeah.
we probably have to plan it 3 and 4 weeks in advance, though, but if you ever even those Black Westchester, we cover everything that has to do with the Black community. So if there's some issues going on in your area and you want to either write about it or whatever, and you want to submit something, I will run that, like, because
Thank you.
that expands our audience. And
That's
then
why I went to school
I'll
for
leave-
journalism.
And then and then when I come here and I bring a stack, I leave a stack that you can take back to Jersey with you, and you can help spread the
Yeah.
with your stuff in it. So that's how we
Definitely.
grow. That's what's keeping us around.
Definitely, I will do that because
Yes.
I do have a lot of things to talk about.
That's it.
So,
That's
talk
it.
about and write about. So to everyone that tuned into the Nina Monique show today, thank you so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you to the Innocence Project. Thank you to Alan Newton for coming in and sharing his story. Thank you to AJ Woodson. Big shout out to People Before Politics. And everyone, thank you for tuning in. Love y'all. Have a wonderful weekend.
And everybody
Bye.
from our show, because I'm posting this on our site, everybody check out this show every Saturday 3 to 5.
Every other Saturday.
Oh, okay. Every other Saturday 3 to 5.
Yeah.
All my audience needs to check out this show and support this show as well.
Thank you. Thank you.